In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up Cloud Bet Bot to place automated bets for Exponential Bet. Once you've actually registered your email and you've accessed your Cloud Bet Bot account, which is the software Exponential Bet uses, this is the screen that you'll be presented with. So to see the systems that you've subscribed to at Exponential Bet, so the first thing you need to do is authorize your Betfair account so it can actually place the bets. And all we do is we click on this link. It'll take you to your Betfair login page, so you put your details in here. As you can see, they've automatically populated, so I will do that and then log in. Now I'm going to grant permission. You'll go through this process. As long as you're happy with this, just click agree. So when you've authorized your Betfair account, you come over to your services and you'll see that the three systems included with Exponential Bet have appeared: PlaySlay Multi, Racing Glaze and SureFavs. So now all you need to do is select your staking method. Now the results at Exponential Bet all use 1 point per bet, betting fixed stake on each system. So if I come over to Exponential Bet and I have a look at the portfolio and just move down, you can see that the results here show there's 1,068 points and 84 pence effectively, with a drawdown of 48.08 points. All this was achieved betting 1 point per bet for each of the three systems. These are the unified portfolio performance results, and you can go into more details here and you can actually download the full CSV. But coming back to Cloud Bet Bot, so if you do want to follow the systems as the results are published, what you would then do is you go into each system. So as you come into PlaySlay Multi, you can see from the top down, you can activate the bot once you're happy. You can actually set an end date for when you'd actually like the bot to stop betting. But if you do that, remember that you've set it, because otherwise you may wonder why your bets have stopped. So you've got full control over that. You've got normal and ratchet, which I'll come to later. You've got your stake amount, and you have the order type. Now the order type is exchange straight. That is fixed stake, betting direct to the exchange. Exchange liability, that's fixed liability, betting straight to the exchange. And BSP, which has got liability in brackets, because this is a lay system and Betfair will only let you bet fixed liability if you decide to use BSP. So in this example, we're going to use exchange straight, £1 stake per bet, turn the bot on, and then all you would do, you would then click save. You see here saving, so now that is saved, options change to, gives you a little example, you click close and then your bot is now saved and it will start placing bets whenever they qualify for PlaySlay Multi. And that is all there is to it. So all I would then do is I would then repeat that process for each of the systems. So I would then go in, if I wanted to place 1 point per bet, so say if I was using 100 point start bank and I'm doing 1 point per bet and my stake value is £1, I would then go in, click one, exchange straight, click save, confirm, and that is it. Now you probably notice here on the active until there's nothing in here. That's fine. That just means there's no end date set. It's literally up to you if you want to use this, the active until, and then you can just set an end date and the bot will stop betting on that date. If you see this, it just means there's no end date set and you haven't got to touch it if you're not bothered about using it, basically. So you go into each system, and as I said, in this example, there's £1 stake per bet, so that's 1 point if I was using 100 point start bank. So there you go. So I would set that, happy with that, exchange straight, click save, and that is now set up. So all three systems are then set and you're literally done. You can follow your results daily, yesterday, 7 days, 30 days, 90 days, and a year. So you've got the option to do that. You can also export your entire result history for each of the systems. So then you got a full, away from the software, record of all your bets, and you can do all the fancy things that you may want to do within Excel to report on that. So that is how you set up Cloud Bet Bot. Now let me just quickly cover a couple of things to do with the different staking options. So firstly, let's just use PlaySlay Multi as an example. So if we go over to PlaySlay Multi here and we actually decide we want to bet exchange straight. So exchange straight, given this is a lay system and this is fixed liability, that means that you're looking to make £1 profit on each bet. Now that means that your liability is going to be dictated by the odds of the selection. So if the odds of your selection is higher than evens, you're going to be risking more than your pound as your liability. If you were to use exchange liability, well then your liability is only ever going to be a maximum of £1. Now if it's betting directed exchange, that will vary slightly, like tiny percentage either way, because obviously it's going into a live market, but your stake is basically, target stake is always going to be around about £1, so you're not going to have a higher liability than that in most instances. BSP, well obviously these are the BSP reported odds, so the selection is made, which is at 1 minute to post, and then the bet is then placed at Betfair starting price. Now the thing is with BSP and Betfair and lay betting, your minimum stake has to be £10. So if you're choosing BSP to bet with, remember that a lay bet BSP on Betfair has to be £10. So that's that. So they are the order types. Now you'll see there's a staking option as well over here. So if I was to move this over to Ratchet, what we then see is start bank and stake. So if we were using the example I mentioned before and using £100 start bank, we put that in and I want to stake 1% of that start bank, and that means that the stake would then be £1 as a starting stake, and whenever the balance, the overall balance increases for this system, the stake will increase by 1%. That's the way it works. When the balance goes down, if we have a losing run and we hit natural drawdown, the stake doesn't decrease. So it's not a setup which is a percentage stake that follows the amount up and down. A ratchet is very different, it's more aggressive. So the ratchet would then place the 1%, sorry. So the ratchet would then place the 1%, whatever it is. So after a period of winning, if the balance was then to drop, the stake would then remain at that high level during that period until it increased again, and then the ratchet would then kick in and it would increase the stake by 1%. So that is the way that works. So if you wanted to stake with 2% of your £100 there, so you're going to be betting with, starting with £2, and that is going to go up by 2%. Hope that makes sense. Now, one important thing that you need to bear in mind here with ratcheting is that you need to be sensible with it to start with. Another thing, you'll see over here, you've got ratchet points, which I've left not grayed out on this test account that I'm using. Now, the way that you get rid of this, because you need to start with 0 before you start using ratchet, because the ratchet calculation is based on these ratchet points. So you clear bets, click OK, and they disappear. And you start from blank. Now, this will clear your bet history. Yep, so you need to be prepared for that. So if you want to make a backup of it first, export to CSV, clear bet, you're starting on a blank slate now with the ratchet, and you're good to go. So if you're happy with that, you put that on as normal, click save, and then you're done. That is your ratchet setup. It's that simple. So you need to do that for each system as well, because the ratchet is calculated per system. It's not overall. So you can have systems that obviously do good and bad over time. The idea of the unified portfolio is that as some systems dip, the others carry them, and then over time, as they gradually do well, they just go up naturally. But one counteracts the other, or more than one counteracts the other, in the fact that we have 3 strategies in operation. So yeah, hopefully that explains the ratchet for you there, and that applies to all of the 3 systems. It's exactly the same process. So if you want to do that for any of the 3 systems and use a ratchet, do that. Now, one cautionary word before we leave this topic, bear in mind that ratchet betting, you need to be sensible. So the balance can go up and up and up, and your percentage stake can go up and up and up. But then you're going to reach a point where you can hit a losing streak and your stake is going to stay high. So bear that in mind. My philosophy on ratchet betting is every 3 to 6 months, 6 months maximum really, that I will reset the ratchet. Just clear bets, because the ratchet, I would use it, if I was using it here, I would use it as a subtle bump on my profits during strong winning periods. But you need to bear in mind that the balance doesn't go down, the stake doesn't go down, when the balance decreases. So yeah, use it cautiously, sensibly, and it'll do well for you. If you just leave it running to infinity, you're going to reach a point where your balance is going to go right the way up, and then it's just going to disappear and it'll eat your bank. So yeah, just take those words of caution and manage it correctly. And as I said, my advice is to reset the ratchet every so often. After a good win run, for example, take the money, reset it, and then start again. Another thing I get asked a lot about is what do we do about deciding how much to stake? What investment amount should I put in? How much should I stake per bet? If I go back here to the Exponential bet page, and if we look at the results for the combined portfolio, you can see here that the max drawdown was reached once, obviously, because it's a maximum, but over, you could say 4 periods solidly, or these bits dipped quite close, but the max drawdown's been hit once, and 3 times after it's been touched upon very closely. So you need to bear that in mind when you're assessing how much to actually invest. So if you're using a 100-point bank and your point value is 10 per bet, so your startup is then by default 1,000. Now this means your bank dropped by minus 480 nearly 4 times over this example, but recovered very well overall and showed over 1,000 points profit, which £10 per bet over this timeline is £10,000. So weigh up if you're okay with that level of risk versus reward, or whether you should increase your point investment, as an example, to say 200, betting £5 per bet instead, giving yourself more of a comfort zone. Choice is yours how you manage this. But the data, the point I'm saying, the data is here for you to examine and guide you. This will be updated regularly with the results. And of course, you can always download these. You can follow them here. Also follow me on YouTube, Substack, X, Facebook, LinkedIn, everywhere else as I publish regular performance posts. So all this information is here to help you decide how much you want to throw into this investment and have as a stake per bet. You need to evaluate your comfort zone and see if you're okay with that risk versus reward, and then be able to let this run hands off through thick and thin, zero emotion, and then reap the rewards, which you can see here from the benchmark results and the results that I've been publishing recently, that actually a big data approach using very minimal filters, just 4 filters per system are in operation here. So there's no backfitting, just very broad filters are being used over a long period of time, and it's done quite well. But there are going to be drop-offs, and the drop-offs, for transparency, are all here for you to see over time. It's not all been plain sailing, so you need to factor all of this in before you get involved, so you can ideally enjoy this kind of return over the period of time and make yourself some decent tax-free money. Okay, I hope that helped. It was a bit of a whistle-stop walkthrough of everything, but I've covered everything from how to actually set up the stakes, what the staking methods are, and how you can look at actually getting your bank and start bank set up with the right amount that is comfortable for you. Any questions, drop me an email to ryan@exponentialbet.co.uk, and don't forget to give us a like, subscribe, comment, all that stuff to help us with the algorithm, because it all helps if you can and if you want to. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye bye.